You ever notice how the moment you finally pull back, the moment you stop chasing, the moment you get quiet, something strange happens? Brother, here's where it gets real. The silence she gives you isn't a punishment. It's a test. The moment you stop running, when you embrace stillness, she pulls back. At first, it feels like you did something wrong, but deep down, you sense it. Something's changing, something's shifting in the air. What if I told you that this moment of silence is not the end? It's the beginning of something far more powerful. She's not backing away because she doesn't care. She's pulling away because she feels something deeper than she's ever let herself feel before. This is where most men miss it. They panic, they chase, they need reassurance. But in doing so, they reveal their greatest weakness, dependence on her attention. But silence, real silence, is a weapon. It's your opportunity to prove your worth, to show that your value isn't measured by her gaze or her words. So what will you do? Will you crumble and chase her? Or will you stand grounded, like the man she knows is unshakable? Let me show you the truth behind this silence. The next part of this journey is where the real test begins, when her silence becomes the loudest voice you'll ever hear. Start this journey now. If this message hit home for you, then don't let it stop here. Take action, stay grounded, stay confident, and prove that your worth doesn't depend on anyone else's attention. Like, subscribe to Stoic Station and share this with a brother who needs to hear the truth about love, silence, and emotional sovereignty. Now I want to know, when she starts ignoring you, what do you do? Drop a 1 if you've found yourself chasing after her, trying to get her attention back. Drop a 2 if you've learned to stand strong, focus on your own growth, and let her come to you when she's ready. Let's talk about it in the comments, brother. Now let's dive in. 1. Why silence feels like betrayal. Have you ever been ignored by someone you care about? It cuts deeper than any argument. There's an emotional pain that accompanies being ignored, especially when it's from someone you love or care about. It feels worse than any fight or harsh word. Men often misinterpret silence as rejection or as a sign that love is fading. This is where the emotional battle begins. When someone goes silent, it's easy for a man to feel like his value is suddenly in question. That silence makes him wonder if he's being dismissed, if the relationship is falling apart, or if he's simply no longer important to the other person. But what most men fail to realize is that this silence isn't always about the relationship ending. It's a psychological space that she's creating, a moment of distance that has nothing to do with abandoning you. It's more than just being quiet. It's a test, a measure of your strength and emotional stability. The distance doesn't only create emotional uncertainty, it triggers psychological doubts about who you are in the relationship. It plants questions like, has she moved on? Does she still care? Was I ever enough? This confusion is exactly the point. It's not the silence itself that's the issue. It's what your mind begins to fill that silence with. The absence of answers can feel like a threat. It's like your mind goes into overdrive, analyzing every interaction, every moment she's pulled away, and turning it into a negative. The danger in this is that the fear of being ignored starts to outweigh your clarity of self-worth. You begin to question your role in her life and whether you've done something wrong, and that's where insecurity can creep in. But here's the powerful truth. Her silence isn't a punishment. It's not a sign of disinterest. It's actually an invitation. When she goes quiet, she's testing you, not to see how much you chase, but to see how well you can handle the emotional space between you two. She's looking for a man who remains grounded, confident, and strong, even in the absence of her presence. If she truly loves you, this test is a chance for you to show that your identity and your strength aren't dependent on her validation or attention. Understanding this is key. Silence doesn't equal rejection. It's a call to show your inner stability. Silence is a powerful test of your emotional self-control. The way you respond to this moment reveals the strength of your foundation. So next time she goes silent, Don't chase after her or let fear dictate your actions. Embrace this silence as an opportunity to prove that your value is not dictated by anyone else's attention. Your self-worth is your own, and that's what will draw her back to you, not your desperate pursuit. And this brings us to the next truth about silence. It's not the absence of love, it's the space for you to show who you really are. 2. The fear behind her silence. What if her silence isn't about you at all? What if it's not that she's pulling away because she doesn't care, but because she's afraid of how deeply she feels? When a woman withdraws, it's easy for a man to take it personally. He wonders if it's something he did wrong, if she's losing interest, or if the love is fading. But the truth is often far more complex. A woman's silence is often rooted in her own fears. Fears of vulnerability, of getting hurt, or of losing herself in a relationship. The deeper the feelings, the more her fear grows. She fears being overwhelmed by the intensity of her emotions, and this fear can make her retreat, not because she doesn't care, but because she doesn't know how to handle what she's feeling. The problem here is that most men miss the real reason behind her silence. They view it as a reflection of their own inadequacies or a signal of rejection. In reality, it's her way of protecting herself. When she pulls away, it's not a sign of disinterest, but a protective mechanism. She's testing the waters to see if her partner can handle her emotional complexity, to see if he can hold his ground without breaking down or chasing after her. This isn't a game, it's a moment of self-preservation for her. The conflict arises when the man misinterprets her actions. Her withdrawal may feel like emotional abandonment, and this uncertainty can be unsettling. It might leave him questioning whether he will ever feel truly secure in her love, or if she's slipping away for good. He begins to wonder if he's doing something wrong, or if the connection they once shared is starting to fade. The absence of answers can feel like a void, filling him with fear and doubt. But here's the solution. The key is emotional resilience. The more you chase, the more you'll drive her away. The way to respond to her withdrawal is not with panic or desperation, but with calm and confidence. You have to show her that you are secure in who you are, that your sense of worth isn't tied to her attention or presence. When you can remain grounded and unaffected by her silence, you not only show her your emotional strength, but you also reassure her that you're someone she can trust to handle her fears without falling apart. Her silence is not about rejecting you, it's about testing your ability to remain steady and unwavering. It's a moment where she's asking herself, can he handle me at my most vulnerable? Can he love me even when I'm distant? If you can hold your ground and stay confident, even when she withdraws, you prove to her that you're the kind of man who can handle the complexity of her emotions, not just in the good times, but in the uncertain ones as well. In the end, her silence is an invitation, not a rejection. It's her way of seeing if you can stand strong in the face of emotional uncertainty. When you respond with calmness and strength, you show her that you're not just a man who can love her in the easy moments, but a man who can be her rock when things get complicated. 3. The test of your masculine energy. How does your reaction to her pulling away shape your relationship? The way you respond to a woman's emotional distance says more about you than any words could. Men often panic when they feel her withdrawal, but in doing so, they reveal their deepest insecurities. The moment she steps back, many men feel as though they need to chase after her, convince her to stay, or reassure her of their worth. This instinct is powerful, but it's also destructive. When you react out of desperation, you unknowingly signal to her that you're unstable, insecure, and dependent on her attention to feel good about yourself. In relationships, your emotional stability and strength are what truly attract her. It's not about how much you give or how much you chase after her, but about the emotional sovereignty you show in those moments of uncertainty. When a woman withdraws, it's not a sign of rejection, it's a test. She wants to see if you are the kind of man who can stand firm even when she pulls back. She's asking, can you hold your ground when I'm not giving you all my attention? The way you respond in these moments shapes your relationship because it shows her how you handle challenges and emotional turbulence. When a man chases or pleads, he not only diminishes his own value in her eyes, but he also pushes her away even further. She starts to feel as though she has the upper hand, and her respect for you begins to fade. The more you chase, the more you signal to her that you don't trust your own worth, and that you're willing to lower your standards in order to keep her close. This is the opposite of what she desires in a partner. She wants a man who is confident, self-assured, and emotionally stable, even in the face of her distance. Your desperation to fix things to pull her back is the very thing that might be driving her into even deeper emotional withdrawal. She isn't looking for constant validation or reassurance. What she's looking for is a man who can stand in his own strength without crumbling under pressure. When you can remain grounded in the face of her emotional distance, you show her that your value is not dependent on her approval. You show her that you are a man who has his own purpose, his own mission, and that you can continue to grow and thrive, regardless of the state of the relationship. A true test of love is how you react to her absence. It's easy to be confident when things are going well, when you're getting her attention and affection. But the real test comes when she steps back and you're left in silence. The question is, how do you respond? Do you panic and chase after her, hoping that your words and actions will bring her back? Or do you stay strong, keep living your life with confidence, and trust that the relationship will grow or fade based on its true strength? The solution is emotional sovereignty. You need to demonstrate that your worth is not dictated by her actions, her words, or her attention. When you show emotional sovereignty, you become a man she respects. You become someone who is unshakable in his sense of self. A man who can handle her emotional complexities without losing his own center is a man who commands respect. And more than that, he becomes the man she desires, not because of what he does for her, but because of the strength he shows in being himself, regardless of the circumstances. So, the next time she pulls away, don't chase, don't beg, don't overanalyze. Stay strong, stay grounded, and keep living your life. When you do this, you demonstrate that your confidence is not fragile. You prove that you are a man who stands firm in the face of uncertainty, and in doing so, you become a man who is irresistible to her. 4. What her silence reveals about her love. When she goes silent, do you feel like giving up, or do you rise? For many men, silence feels like the end of love. The moment she stops speaking, stops texting, or pulls away emotionally, the first reaction is often panic. Silence becomes a void, and the absence of her words can feel like a personal rejection. But this is one of the biggest misunderstandings men often make. Silence is not the end of love. It is often a deeper reflection of it. In reality, it's a sign that her feelings are intensifying and a test to see how much emotional strength you possess. Her silence is not about rejecting you. It's a test to see if you can handle the complexity of her emotions without falling apart. When a woman loves deeply, her emotions are not always easy to manage. She may pull away, not because she's unsure of her love for you, but because she needs to process her feelings in a way that requires space. This space isn't meant to push you away. It's meant to see if you can stand firm, grounded in your own emotional stability, without the need for constant reassurance. The problem is, when a man interprets this silence as rejection, he often panics. He overthinks every interaction, questioning if he's done something wrong or if she's lost interest. He wonders whether he'll ever feel truly secure in her love again. The uncertainty created by silence can make him spiral, and in doing so, he fails the test. His panic, his need for reassurance, reveals a deep insecurity, It shows that he doesn't trust himself enough to weather the emotional storms, and ultimately, that's what makes her pull further away. The key here is emotional stability. In relationships, love isn't just about the intensity of the emotions, but how both partners handle the quiet moments, the uncertain spaces. Your strength in silence speaks louder than words ever could. When you can remain composed, when you can carry on with your life with confidence and calmness while she works through her emotions, you show her that you are the man she can trust with her vulnerability. Love is not about constantly seeking validation. It's about being steady and strong enough to support her when she needs space to breathe. Her silence is revealing much more than you might think. It's showing how deeply she feels for you, and whether you can handle the vulnerability of being loved. If you panic and crumble at the absence of her words, you send a message that you can't handle the weight of her love. But if you stay grounded, stay confident in your own strength, you show her that you're capable of carrying the weight of her love without needing constant reassurance. In the end, silence is an invitation for growth. It's her way of testing whether you can hold her heart, even when it's not constantly on display. If you rise to the challenge and stand strong in the face of silence, you'll prove that you are a man who can be trusted with her emotions, who can love her in the quiet, and who can remain unshaken by the ebbs and flows of love. And this is what makes a woman feel deeply connected, when her partner can handle her silence without crumbling, but instead stands as a steady presence she can always return to. 5. The power of emotional distance. What if her emotional distance is exactly what you need to grow? Emotional distance can feel like a punch to the gut. It brings up feelings of loneliness, confusion, and uncertainty. It's easy to misinterpret her withdrawal as rejection or a sign that something is wrong with the relationship. In these moments, it feels like the connection is fading and the mind starts racing with doubts. Has she lost interest? Is she pulling away for good? But what if that emotional space isn't a negative at all? What if it's exactly the opportunity you need to grow both individually and together? While emotional distance often feels painful, it doesn't have to be a sign of an impending breakup or disconnection. In fact, it can be a powerful tool for emotional growth and a deeper connection between the two of you. When she steps back, it's easy to default to the need for constant reassurance. Many men make the mistake of constantly seeking validation, chasing after their partner to fill the void that emotional distance creates. But in doing so, they miss the opportunity to develop their own emotional independence. This constant seeking for affirmation can turn a healthy relationship into something fragile and unstable, where both partners become reliant on each other for emotional fulfillment. The real question here is, how can you use this emotional space to your advantage? The answer lies in focusing on your own growth. When she pulls away, instead of chasing after her or demanding answers, use this time to develop your own emotional strength. Work on building your inner confidence, your resilience, and your sense of self-worth. This space, which may feel uncomfortable at first, offers the perfect opportunity to step into your full potential. By embracing emotional distance, you can create the foundation for a stronger, more balanced relationship. When you stop relying on constant validation, you bring emotional stability into your life. This, in turn, strengthens the relationship because you are no longer placing all of your emotional needs on your partner. Instead, you learn to fulfill those needs on your own, creating a sense of balance and independence that is crucial for a healthy, thriving relationship. Imagine how different the dynamic will be when you can remain grounded, calm, and centered, even when there's space between you and her. Rather than feeling insecure, you'll begin to feel empowered. Emotional distance won't feel like a threat. It will feel like an opportunity for growth. And when both partners have emotional independence, the relationship doesn't become dependent on each other's attention or approval. Instead, it becomes stronger, more resilient, and more deeply connected because both people are thriving in their own emotional worlds. So the next time you feel her pulling away, Don't panic. Don't chase after her. Use the space to strengthen yourself, to dive deeper into your own growth, and watch how this naturally transforms the connection between you. Emotional distance is not the enemy. It's the doorway to a deeper, more powerful bond. By embracing it, you create the foundation for a relationship built on mutual respect, strength, and emotional sovereignty. 6. When silence turns into desire. What if the silence you fear is the very thing that deepens her desire? Silence is often misunderstood as a negative, a gap in communication that is impossible to bridge. For many men, when the woman they care about pulls away emotionally, the first instinct is to panic. The absence of words or connection creates an emotional void that feels unbearable, leading men to question their place in the relationship. They wonder, what's going on? Is she losing interest? Why is she so quiet? In these moments, silence feels like a threat to the connection, a gap that's too wide to overcome. But what if this silence, instead of being a barrier, is actually an opportunity? What if this emotional distance is the very thing that can draw you closer, increase attraction, and even deepen her desire for you? Here's the truth most men miss. This gap isn't something to be feared, it's something to embrace. When a woman goes quiet, it's not a sign that she no longer cares. It's a test, a chance for you to show your emotional strength and resilience. Men often react with desperation when faced with silence, thinking they need to fill the space with words, constant reassurance, or actions to restore the connection. They chase after her, trying to close the gap. But ironically, this very pursuit pushes her further away. In doing so, they signal insecurity, and that's the exact opposite of what she needs. Desperation repels, while confidence draws. Instead of rushing to fill the silence, what if you let it be? Silence becomes a tool for her to gauge your worth, to see how you handle emotional uncertainty. The way you respond to silence determines whether she's drawn closer or pushed further away. If you panic, chase, or beg for her attention, you only prove that you're emotionally unstable. But if you hold your ground and stay centered in yourself, you show her something far more powerful. You show her that your sense of worth and identity are not dependent on her attention or validation. You show her that you are capable of handling emotional space without collapsing into insecurity. Your self-possession in the face of emotional uncertainty only makes you more attractive. The more you stand firm and remain confident, the more she will be drawn to you. It's not about ignoring her or withdrawing emotionally, but about demonstrating emotional sovereignty. When you don't react with panic, but instead remain calm and confident, you create an emotional magnetism that pulls her closer to you. Your presence becomes even more compelling because it's not reliant on her actions or validation. Silence, when embraced with calm and confidence, transforms into an unspoken magnetism. It becomes the space where attraction grows, not fades. Her absence isn't a sign of losing her. It's a sign of her testing the depth of your emotional strength. The longer you remain unaffected, the stronger the desire she will feel. She starts to crave the very thing she thought she could live without. Your ability to remain steady in silence makes you more powerful in her eyes, because it proves that you can handle the complexities of her emotions without needing her constant reassurance. In the end, silence doesn't weaken the connection, it strengthens it. It gives her the space to miss you, to reflect on your worth, and to desire you more deeply. When you can stand strong in the face of her silence, you don't just hold her attention, you hold her desire. Silence, embraced with emotional control and confidence, becomes the key to a deeper, more magnetic connection. Brother, remember this. Silence isn't something to fear. It's an opportunity to prove your strength. A woman who loves you will test you, and how you handle that test will define your relationship. Will you crumble under the weight of uncertainty, or will you rise, grounded in the power of emotional self-control? The way you respond to silence is what truly shows your strength. If this message resonated with you, don't let it end here. Take action, stay grounded, stay confident, and show the world that your value doesn't depend on anyone else's attention. Like, subscribe to Stoic Station, and share this with a brother who needs to hear the truth about love, silence, and emotional sovereignty. Now, I want you to reflect on this. When she pulls away, how do you react? Drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. This is your journey, brother. Let's walk it with strength and purpose. See you in the next one, where we'll dive deeper into the silent power of emotional control. Don't miss it.